Hey, y'all, people of God, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And before y'all's time, Babs. Listen, today is part three of our pastoral series here. I don't know what I did on first day one, day two. I don't remember. Hey, but today we are going to be talking about payment, putting the pastors on the payment plan. Pastor's payment plan, PPP, the PPP loan. See you in 60. You good. Don't stop it. Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say.
Sirwalterj.
He's got something to say. Sirwalterj.
Reporting live 7 days a week, always on time, but his time is not free. Sirwalterj, always on sleep. Latest trending topics had you jumping out your seat.
He's got something to say.
Come on in, boys. The water is fine.
Everybody, Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the midday connection, baby. How y'all was coming in? Water fine. Y'all doing all right there, bunkers? It's so good to see all of you here. Today is a Wednesday, April the something, 9th, I think it is, something like that. I can't keep up. It was snowing today in Chicago. Come visit us. We have 2 seasons, winter and construction. Pastors, should you pay your pastor? Well, that's a yes and a no. Is he worthy of your payment? What kind of arrangement do you have with your pastor? Does he work a job? Did he build that church? Is he the CEO of that church? I got questions. I need answers. There are people who form churches like corporations. They are the chief executive officers. And just like any corporation, you can't get voted out even though you started the corporation. If you go, especially if you go public with stock options and you've got a board of directors, and if you're the Baptist church especially, you get kicked out. They can fire you. Rarely does a Kojic pastor gets fired because it's set up under a different structure. But the Church of God in Christ is changing their structure slowly, where we've been seeing lately that pastors have been removed. Bishops are being defrocked. A word I don't like because it reminds me. Anyway, so as it pertains to payment, that's the agreement that the church should have with the pastor. All right. I will say that some pastors, unfortunately, they're fleecing the flock because the church can't afford to really pay his salary. And some people set up churches so that they can get paid. So they start churches as a career move, not as something where God called them to pastor, and they did not trust God to take care of their needs. And they set it up to get salaries. And that's a problem with pastors today. It's always been a problem. All right. So the pastor, if he is someone who has the heart of God, like yesterday I was talking about the authority, and this authority must be under the ordinance of God himself. He needs to dedicate himself under God's ordinance and authority. Then he is a good man if he does that. Then if the church can afford to pay, then he could get paid. But how much he gets paid is another problem, because just because you decide to pay him don't mean he needs to get paid what some of y'all are paying him. And you all have to collect 2 and 3 offerings in order to pay his salary plus the salary maybe of the musician, to pay the janitor, and to pay the light and gas bill and the mortgage on the church, and it's just too much. So TT said my auntie's Kojic pastor is being taken to court by his peeps. You see what I'm saying? So Kojic is changing, y'all. They're changing for a good reason. And he feels that because I started the church, you can't fire me. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, Pastor. I'm sorry to tell you. Once you go public, the rules have changed. All right. So some men, unfortunately, y'all are paying them too much money. And one reason why the man continues to pull from you all because he don't know anything about money. He doesn't know much about money. I'm a pastor with a full-time job. I like it this way. I have no pressure to preach according to I love it. Run Cammy T. I love it. One of the greatest things I have done, Run, is retire from being a musician of the church. I had been a musician for 43 years in the church, and I resigned, and it is one of the greatest decisions I've ever made. Because like you, I'm not under pressure. I was playing the piano on Sunday because I wanted to, not because I had to. And I got my little skinny butt up and sat down when, maybe somebody wanted to sing, something like that. I sat down and let the hired hand play the rest of the service. I just played what I wanted to play and sat down. And I love it. It is freedom. Pastor Cooley, Lafayette, blessings to you. All right. Thank you for coming. I love it. I love it. All right. And so where does my money come from? It comes from my other streams. What the stuff that I do in this office, my teaching. All right. That's where it comes from. Lynette Thomas, wow, we miss you. We miss you. Where you been, girl? Where you been? So what I want to do is go to the scriptures and see what the Apostle Paul had to say and see if what he's saying should be applied to all pastors. Uh-oh. Pastor Cooley, you better help me. You're the only pastor I see here. You better help me. All right, let's see. 2 Corinthians chapter 11. We'll start there, and then we'll go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. But let's see what he says. He's talking about false apostles right now. Okay? Now, I see what you say, Brandon. I see what you say. You said Jesus didn't get paid, and that often comes up, the whole Jesus didn't get paid, but Jesus was not a pastor. He sent pastors. Brandon, I'm gonna have to address you. Jesus was not a pastor. Jesus was the shepherd, a good shepherd, but he was not a pastor. Ephesians chapter 4 tells us what he did. Before he descended, or ascended, that is, he descended to the lower parts of the earth. And then he gave gifts unto men. And one of those gifts is pastor. That's when pastor became the thing. You understand? Once that happened, then Jesus pushed this man down by the name of the Apostle Paul, knocked him on his behind, said, "Why do you persecute me?" And then he sent him out, especially to the Gentiles. And Paul began to set up churches and put pastors like a Titus and a Timothy, maybe even Apollos and others. And he set these pastors up. He laid hands on them and sent them on their way. You understand? And then he began to write these letters about payment. Payment. I'm getting ready to read it to you. So we can't keep throwing Jesus in everything we do today, because Jesus had one work, we have another work. And then what we do is we pin Paul against Jesus and say, well, I don't listen to Paul because Jesus didn't do it. That's typically a Hebrew Israelite defense. They don't like any of them. They don't like none of them. So it doesn't really matter. All right. So let's go here and see what Paul says, because if I don't go here, I'm just talking out of my brain, a brain. He says here, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, he's talking about the false apostles. I hope you will put up with a little more of my foolishness. I love what he's doing here. He's being funny like me, comical, flippant. Okay, please bear with me, for I am jealous for you with the jealousy of God himself. I promise you, as a pure bride to one husband, Christ. All right. But I fear that somehow your pure and undivided devotion to Christ will be corrupted, just as Eve was deceived by the cunning ways of the serpent. You happily put up with whatever anybody tells you. Whatever the pastors say, you put up with it. Mm-hmm. Even if they preach a different Jesus than one we preach, and this is sometimes what we do by putting Jesus in this thing, by saying, if Jesus didn't do it, then y'all shouldn't do it. That's a different Jesus. Or a different kind of spirit than the one you receive, or a different kind of gospel than the one you believe in. He called you who do that accursed, and he said it twice. You understand? Y'all still with me? Good. Well, but I don't consider myself inferior in any way, to these super apostles who teach such things. I may be unskilled as a speaker, but I'm not lacking in knowledge. This is me, y'all. Sometimes I slip up with my words. I stumble. I stutter. I can't spell right. My writing is atrocious. But let me tell you one thing that I'm not lacking in: knowledge. We have made this clear to you in every possible way, and here is where he jabs the dagger in your heart. Was I wrong when I humbled myself and honored you by preaching good news, God's good news to you without expecting anything in return? Here is the fight. Paul is telling you something, and you got to listen very closely to his words. He said, I wasn't really expecting anything in return. I robbed other churches by accepting their contributions so that I could serve you at what? No cost. Now, he's being funny here. All right? I was able to receive from other churches, but I took that so I can give it to you. And when I was with you and didn't have enough to live on, I did not become a financial burden to anyone. This is my opening statement, y'all. He's only co-signing what I said. If you're going to put a man on salary, he should not be a burden to your church. For the brothers who came from Macedonia brought me all that I needed. Don't worry, God took care of Sirwalterj Jones when I retired from playing my music for the Lord. I have never been a burden to you, and I will never be a burden to the bunkers. I don't beg y'all for money. Y'all give freely because you feel that I'm feeding you. As surely as the Church of Christ is in me, no one in all Greece will ever stop me from boasting about this. Come on, Paul, you're talking to me. Why? Because I don't love what? Because I don't love you? Here's the question. God knows I love y'all. What did he say? But I will continue doing what I have always done. This will undercut those who are looking for an opportunity to boast that their work is just like ours. No, it ain't. These people are false apostles. They are deceitful workers who disguise themselves as apostles of Christ. But I am not surprised. Even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Even Satan disguised himself as an angel of light. I'm going to talk about this, hopefully this week, with that so-called dandelion that was in my backyard. I kept calling it a weed, but actually it's a daffodil. All right? I'll be talking about that using this right here. So it is no wonder that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. In the end, they will get the punishment their wicked deeds deserve. Y'all still with me? All right. Well, that's 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and then he continues. Let's see if we can go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and continue in this here vein. Vein, in my vein, in my vein, in my vein. Why the blood walk? Anyway, in my vein, right here. The 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 11. Look what he said. He said, you have made me act like a fool. Boy, I tell you, you got to have somebody read this to you so you can understand his inflections. Mm-hmm. He said, you ought to be writing commendations for me, for I am not at all inferior to those super apostles, even though I am nothing at all. When I was with you, I certainly gave you proof that I am an apostle. For I patiently did many signs, wonders, and miracles among you. The only thing I failed to do, which I do in other churches, was become a financial burden. What? Did y'all hear that? Huh? Did y'all hear that? Renee said, exactly. I kept saying they are not weeds. I kept calling it a weed on purpose. And I'll tell you why, Renee, I kept calling it a weed. Not today, but in the next show. Not tomorrow's show, but it's coming. It's coming. Hold out. All right. Look at what he said. I'm going to read it again. The only thing I failed to do, which I do in other churches, was to become a financial burden to you. Please forgive me for this wrong. Now I'm coming to you for the third time, and I will not be a burden to you. I don't want what you have. Who I want? I want you. This is how pastors supposed to be talking to the members of that church. This is how he do it right here. I don't want your stuff. There are churches who are literally putting pastors in their insurance, their death insurance policies, and they are putting their houses in the churches in their house in their will, the church in their will, meaning when they die, the church will get their house. And pastors are asking members to do that. When I was coming up, that's what I was hearing. Put the church in your policy. After all, children don't provide for their parents. Rather, parents provide for their children. I will gladly spend myself and all I have for you, even though it seems that the more I love you, the less you love me. Wow. Paul needs some milk. Paul needs some milk. Joyce said, I knew you were incorrect because I Googled it. Well, I didn't have to Google it. I specifically said weed, because that's what it is. And I'll tell you why I'm saying it. That's a weed. Even though it's a never mind. Y'all will get me on the other show. I don't want to go ahead of myself. That daffodil, oh, trust me, it's a weed. All right, where am I? Some of you admit I was not a burden to you, but others still think I was sneaky and took advantage of you by bribery. But how, y'all? People come here and be talking to be saying that I'm begging y'all for money, I'm asking for money, I'm charging y'all for the gospel and stuff like that. Y'all have seen some of the comments come over there, like I'm taking advantage of the bunkers. Please, can't nobody in this comment section ever say I've taken advantage of you. Not a one. And we've got over a couple thousand people on our email list. Not a one. You heard it too, Mommy Kia? I'm trying to tell you, not a one. Pastor should only be paid if have given up all to serve. Yes, they can't own stock, drive, Bentley, Lady Wisdom. All right, let's see. But how? Did any of the men I sent to you take advantage of you? When I urged Titus to visit you and sent our own brother with him, sent our other brother, did Titus take advantage of you? No, for we have the same spirit, walking each other's steps, doing the same thing, y'all, same thing. Perhaps you think we're saying these things just to defend ourselves. No, we tell you this as Christ's servants and with God as our witness. Everything we do, dear friends, is to what? Strengthen you. For I'm afraid that when I come, I won't like what I find, and you won't like my response. And I'm afraid that I will find cruelty and jealousy and selfishness and slander and gossip and arrogance and disorderly behavior. All this stuff was going on. This was a Dear John letter, y'all. It was a harsh letter, the letter to the Corinthians. Although this says 2 Corinthians, this would really be 3 Corinthians, maybe 4 Corinthians, because the first letter actually got lost. So that's 2 Corinthians 11 and 12. Well, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. What he's saying here? This one is interesting. Because what he going to say here, should this be you? The Levites were considered poor and had nothing true. God gave the tithes to them because they had nothing true. Then there's the pastors who, if they don't have any jobs, and the church decide they all got to come to an agreement that they can afford to pay the pastor, then they should pay him. Period. If y'all agreed, pay him. What he does with his money, though, is up to him. If he invests his money properly, that doesn't mean that they need to stop paying him. They can still pay him. He can invest his money, let his money grow, and then he take the growth of his money and help the church. It's reciprocal. The more they help him, the more he helped them. This is how it should work. First century church did it. Why can't the pastors today do it? And if the pastor have children, then he should not just be receiving a salary from the church and not make his money grow. He should be in the market. He should have some kind of retirement fund, unless the church have an individual retirement fund set up for him. And let me tell you, the Presbyterian church do that. The Lutheran church do that for their pastors. There is a pension fund for Lutheran and Presbyterian churches. Some Baptist churches have a pension fund for pastors. You understand? So whether he sets up this individual retirement account or the church do it, it should be done, because he's not going to live forever, and he may live a long time, but not be healthy enough to pastor, and so he needs to have a some kind of retirement for himself and something for his children. You understand? The Church of God in Christ has been failing at that. They've been trying to do some kind of pension or something like that, some kind of insurance for bishops, but they keep screwing that up. But the Lutheran and the Presbyterian church, they doing it. I'm telling you what I know, because my former friend was he was one of the workers. He was an accountant for the Presbyterian church, and his job was to take care of the pension plans for the pastors and the clergy. All right, so I'm going to have to maybe push you on that a little bit. So Paul gives up his rights. He says, "Am I not as free as anyone else? Am I not an apostle? Haven't I seen Jesus, our Lord, with my own eyes? Isn't it because of my work that you belong to the Lord? Even if others think I am not an apostle, I certainly am to you. You yourselves have proved that I am the Lord's apostle." He's qualifying himself. "This is my answer to those who question my authority." Don't we have the right to live in your homes and share your meals? Look at this. Pay close attention. I have a right to live in your house and eat at your dinner table because I am an apostle. That's what he's saying. Don't we have the right to bring a believing wife with us as the other apostles and the Lord's brothers do, and as Peter does? Or is it only Barnabas and I who have to work to support ourselves? What? Sounds like he had a job. Now, Lady Wisdom, I really want to teach this. All right. And I respect you too. You said I'm wrong? Okay. The Levites were instructed to take care of their needs and not store up. They had to depend on the tithe only. Now, Lady Wisdom, The reason why I have to answer you is because somebody's going to read your comment in here. They may be new to the show and they may get misled. You cannot use this economic situation that Jesus Christ set up today and push in the old covenant of the Levites priestlyhood economy and think that this is going to work. Number one, the tithe system is dead. All right? Dead. That's number one. Hebrews tell me that it's dead. It's gone. All right. The Levites had no inheritance. You are right. God was their inheritance. The people brought in their food to feed the Levites. And the Levites, guess what they did? They had to pay. Who? The priests. How'd they pay them? With the food. They had to pay the priests. The Levites gave a percentage of their food to the priests so that they can continue. You understand? Now, what I'm getting ready to read to you in here, because you got to be patient and watch the rest of the show, what I'm getting ready to read to you from the Apostle Paul, you cannot deny it because it's right here in the scripture. So you can't bring in Levites in that economy from what I'm reading to you right now. You got to be patient. All right? Because what I'm getting ready to read to you is going to kill everything in the Levitical economy. It's going to kill it all. Let me continue. He says, or is it only Barnabas and I who have to work to support ourselves? Somebody was a tent maker. Barnabas did some work too to support themselves. They didn't pull from the church, from everything. Come on, Daniel. Context is important. All culture needs to do is look into group life insurance across jurisdictions, whether it's regional. They tried it. They screwed it up. Van Zelle, they screwed it up. One of the bishops who was over me in the jurisdiction died. He had a so-called bishop life insurance through Kojic, and when his children tried to pull from it, it disappeared. Let me continue. What soldier has to pay his own expenses? What farmer plants a vineyard and doesn't have the right to eat some of its fruits? What shepherd cares for a flock of sheep and isn't allowed to drink some of the milk? Did y'all see that? Am I expressing merely a human opinion, or does the law say the same thing? For the law, what? He went back to Moses and said, you must not muzzle an ox to keep it from eating as it treads out the grain. Was God thinking only about oxen when he said this? Wasn't he actually speaking to us? Yes, it was written not to the Levites only, but to us, so that the one who plows and the one who threshes the grain might both expect a share of the what? Harvest. Since we have planted spiritual seed among you, aren't we entitled to harvest of physical food and drink? If I'm gonna preach, I can't survive off of you saying, bless God, I enjoyed you, Brother Jones, and if you're not giving me no food or drink. This ain't spiritual food or drink, y'all. I got to survive. If you support others who preach to you, shouldn't we have an even greater right to be supported? But we have never used this right, Paul said. He says, you have a right. He said, but I decided. Or we decided, me, Barnabas, and maybe a couple other guys, we decided that we're not going to be too burdensome on you all. We would rather put up with anything than be an obstacle to the good news about Christ. context. He would not have said all this other stuff right here if he meant this last portion for everybody. Why bring up all this earlier stuff if he tells you, yeah, but you all shouldn't get any food or drink or money? Don't you realize that those who work in the temple get their meals from the offerings brought to the temple? And those who serve at the altar get a share of the sacrificial offering. In the same way, the Lord ordered that those who preach the good news should be supported by those who benefit from it. Yet I have never used any of these rights, and I am not writing this to suggest that I want to start now. In fact, I would rather die than lose my right to boast about preaching without charge. Yet preaching the good news is not something I can boast about. I'm compelled by God to do it. How terrible for me if I didn't preach the good news. He said, I decided this is a personal preference of mine. My personal preference. He says, but because I said all this other stuff before, if the man is preaching, feed him, pay him. Because the economy today is not that you pay me with apples and oranges and vegetables. I now have lights, gas, water, mortgage, insurance, a lot of expenses for me to operate the Sirwalterj show. LLC license I have to pay every year. That's the business license, by the way. I got to pay these websites that I got up, even Patreon. It costs. I have fees. And I try not to pass those fees over to you all. I told Patreon, because some of the payments went up, but I still take the brunt of it because I said, I pay Patreon. I know you're rolling this out. It's not Patreon that's doing this. Apple's doing it. Apple, your app store is what's charging you all a little extra. I'm not doing it, nor is Patreon doing it. That's your app store doing it. They told us that. and Patreon asked me, do you want to pass that on to your patrons? I said, no, I'll take the cost. So right here, if I were doing this on my own initiative, I would deserve payment. But I have no choice, for God has given me this sacred trust. What then is my pay? It is the opportunity to preach the good news without charging anyone. That's me right there. I don't charge for the gospel. YouTube is free, y'all. That's why I never demand my rights when I preach the good news. When people ask me, how much you charge? Because I want you to come fly to Florida and preach at our so-and-so. I tell them, I don't charge a fee. You don't do that? You a big guy. You famous, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I may be famous to you, but as it pertains to me charging you for preaching the gospel, I can't do it. My conscience won't allow me to do it. Now, do you want to give me a free will offering? That's up to you. But whether you do or not, you pay for my plane ticket and you pay for the hotel, right? And I'll get there and I'll do my thing, and I'm going to come home whether you give me a check or whether you don't. That's me. Now, you can't book TD Jakes and get that same response. It's not happening. Even though I am a free man with no master, I have become a slave to all the people to bring many to Christ. Lord, have mercy. Now, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 9. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. Well, boys and girls, moms and dads, let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 5, shall we? What do you think you're going to say here? What do you think you're going to say? Well, let's see what he's going to say. This is him talking about widows and elders and slaves. All right. 1 Timothy chapter 5. He starts up talking to the older men. Then he switches to the widows. All right. And then he talks about if a woman who have relatives, he spends a little time with the widows. By the time he get to verse 17, elders who do their work well should be respected and paid what? Well. I didn't have to read no more. I didn't have to read no more. Tina Moore, I love you. I didn't have to read no more. Joyce says, why not consider some merch? Trust me, that's been in the works for some years now. I don't like moving. Come close. Joyce, you here, do your job. One thing you're going to find out about me is this. I don't do something unless I know that that's what I want to do. I'm intentional. And I will not release any product unless I am satisfied with it. It needs to be right or it won't be at all. That's me. Thank you, Tina. It's either right or not at all. So you haven't seen any merch from me because I'm still developing that. I don't release sloppy mess. I just don't. My book, my first book, my editor was, it's ready. I'm like, it's not ready. It's not ready. It's ready to you, but it ain't ready to me. I need it to be right because you only have one opportunity for a first impression. Y'all understand? And one thing I do not like to do is fleece the saints. I just don't. This is baby girl, y'all. Hold on. Bible study. Baby girl asking questions. So let's go back here. Look what it say. Look what it say. Elders who do their work well should be respected and paid what? Well. That means double honor. Baby girl, I'm live. I'm live now. Sorry, y'all. Family first. Okay, where am I? Especially those who work hard at both preaching and teaching. Is that me? Sometimes people ask, how are you doing this? And I'll say, how am I doing what? How are you doing this every day on YouTube and at least twice a day on Patreon? And you're in school. And I say, I don't know. I have no idea how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. And some weeks and some months is rough, y'all. It's rough. If something happens, listen, I put money away for emergencies, all right? And I don't touch it. I just don't. And I stop. I have an emergency fund and I stop. I stop putting money in that because inflation is just killing it. So I stop. So when something breaks, whether it's in the house, and if anybody got a house out there, you don't always want to go through your insurance. You don't. You're going to take your hard-earned money and do it because you do not want to waste a claim on something that you could fix yourself that is not detrimental like a house fire or an explosion. Yeah, that may require some insurance. But if it's something break or something and you put the money away, dig in your emergency fund and just take care of it. So I have had to dig in that emergency fund a few times for this house. Hot water heater exploded. Not a long time ago. It was, just a few months ago, just poof, exploded. I was not calling no insurance. I had to go into my emergency fund and empty that sucker out to buy a new hot water heater, bring some guys in here. That was a lot of money. All right? And then before you knew it, the window broke. The back door lock broke. I had to go in my emergency fund and fix the back door. And every time something break in this house, I got to go to the emergency fund and clean it out. But guess what? The only reason why I can go back to the emergency fund is because when I pull from it, I always replenish it. I know my mind says if you're going to pull $500 out of that emergency fund, put that $500 back as soon as you can. You're going to need it. Y'all better hear me. You better hear Uncle Sir. Put it back. So some months it's difficult for me. I have monies in my accounts, yes. I have monies in retirement or in the stock market and cryptocurrency, yes. But it's there. I can't touch it because if I pull from it, I now got to pay a capital gains tax. Number one. Number two, that is in there for the long haul. That's retirement. Why pull from retirement for something that you can pull from your emergency money? You understand? So if I say I don't have any money this month, I may have thousands of dollars in my portfolio, but I'm not liquid. I don't have any money. I'm not liquid. And if I pull from there, I get penalized. And especially if I pull from there this week when the market crashed and I've lost thousands of dollars in the market since these tariffs. But guess what? You don't lose until you sell. So I kept telling y'all, be patient, be patient, be patient, be patient. Don't sell, don't sell. And some of y'all you went crazy. You're like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up. I said, don't sell. We've been here over and over and over again. Last time we were here in 2020, we were here and we recovered. Cool out. And guess who was the president then? Donald Trump. We were here before. That's why I keep saying that the biggest problem America have is that you keep forgetting. You understand? Be cool. And guess what happened today? China was like, listen, oh, that's the game you want to play? Well, here's our game. Everything in your house about to go up. And Trump said, crap. Ladies and gentlemen, your king is speaking. I have put a 90-day pause on the tariff because, I just want to teach them a lesson. They've heard me. And this man literally said that the other nations is kissing his ass. Did y'all see that? Maybe y'all missed it. Trump said that other nations are kissing his arse. This was yesterday. You saw it, Luann? You saw it, TT? And China said, we not going to kiss your arse. And when they hit us with that big thing, and Trump was like, I'm going to have to pause this. And those people, there are people who were trying to retire yesterday, and they were pulling their monies out because they didn't know how long this was going to go. They don't have any jobs or what have you, and they need to retire. And they pulled their monies and lost all that money. Today, they regained a lot of it back, and they like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me. Y'all better hear me. That's why I started the finance room for stuff like this. As soon as you call in a claim to your insurance company, your rates are going to go up astronomically. So you have to weigh it out. It's absolutely cheaper to pay yourself than to be constantly paying that increased monthly insurance bill. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Because State Farm told me, bye-bye, love, because I had 3 flat tires in 1 year. But I didn't have 3 flat tires. I had 1 flat tire, and the truck came, and he couldn't get me up and going. And he went away. I called State Farm back. I said, hey, you got to call another truck out here because this guy can't get it working. So they called another guy out here, has 2 claims. And then months down the road, I had a flat. And I had to call them one more time. And they said, bye-bye. Van Zelle said, Trump cussing, what will the evangelicals say? Yeah, they canceled me. They said, we're going to give you some cheaper insurance. We got a sister company. We'll put you on that thing. And I fussed, and I argued, and I screamed, and I threatened my lawyer. I did all kind of stuff. They said, okay, Mr. Jones, okay. We'll hold on to you. We'll hold on to you. But stop using our service. That's basically what they said, y'all. How close are you? State Farm basically said, we know you got roadside assistance, but don't use it. I said, thank you for telling me the truth. Get AAA. Get AAA. Lord. I said, give him a bunch of notebooks and pens and lock the door. Y'all talking about Trump? Yeah, look at Florida, TT. Come on, Layla. It's a scam. But you need it. All right? Who got me on the tangent when I was talking about pastors? Who did this? Who's responsible for taking me off the right road this last 7 minutes, huh? Who did it? Which one of y'all? All right? So right here, for the scripture says, you must not muzzle an ox to keep it from eating as it treads out the grain. And in another place, those who work deserve pay. Huh. Ain't that something? Ladies, so why don't you have AAA? I didn't say I didn't have AAA. I didn't have it before because I had roadside assistance. I'm paying all this money. Well, now that I got a new car, I'm paying almost $400 one guy for insurance on one car, one guy. Because when I get insurance, I don't play around with that little liability and all the little. I said, put that on there. Put that in there. Put that in there. Put that in there. My daddy taught me how to do that. Now, at how much is that? Put that in there. Put that in the cart. Your bill gonna be high. Put it in there. Put it in there. Because I don't trust me. I don't trust me. Put it in there. So they put everything in the thing. And as the car gets older, the insurance will go down. It'll go down. Don't worry about that. Put it in there. So I didn't need AAA because when I called roadside assistance, they came. Then they came again. But when they came the third time, they said, Mr. Jones, maybe somebody should have told you don't use our service. You got some of your investment back, Daniel? I did too. I got at least a quarter of my investment back. And more is coming, y'all. This is how it works. You got to be patient. Be patient. We've been here before. Y'all understand? We've been here before. Watching from Toronto, Carlene Valentine. So good to see you. So I think I went that way because I was telling y'all about being paid and asking y'all for money and all this stuff. I don't do it, even though sometimes I need the money. I don't. The Lord supplies. He takes care of enough for me to pay my bills. Can I fly to Cancun today? Well, probably not. I mean, I can, but why? Why? I'm not that guy. I do not waste. I'm not saying going to Cancun is a waste, but I just don't need that kind of luxury. I don't need it. I'm just a little more simple than your average guy. Yeah, I just don't need all of that luxury stuff. I really don't. Those cruises y'all be taking, those exotic trips, I just never been that guy. Now, my life plan is to retrace the Apostle Paul's steps. I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Rome. I want to go to, obviously Israel and, other places. I want to go, Turkey, Great Britain. I want to go to those places, and I will. That would be my trip, but it won't be for luxury and for vacation. It'll be for ministry, actually. I know I'm strange. Come on, know your sound. So as it pertains to merch, I think Joyce asked, not right now. It's coming. I'm working on that. There's some things I don't need people to help me on. I'm gonna do that myself. Where am I? All right. Okay. Let's see. So you either my family hates I don't go alone. Yeah. Beatrice, you been to Rome? I know it's beautiful. Do not listen to an accusation against an elder unless it is confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. Those who sin should be reprimanded in front of the whole church. This will serve as a strong warning to others. Ooh, we don't do that. We do not do that. That's a whole show by itself. All right. So these accusations. All right. He goes on and on. So it's okay to pay your pastor, but is he worthy of that? Rome was great, Adana. They can show you the prison where Peter was cast. See, that's why I want to go. That's why I want to go, Collins. I'm going before I leave this earth. I'm going. Thank you, Brown. I gotta go. That is my, what do you call it? Like Mecca. That is my journey to Mecca. But what they call it? That is my. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's on my list, and I'm probably gonna do a lot of crying while I'm over there. I'm probably going to do a lot of crying overseas, weeping. I will be the weeping prophet. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Pilgrimage. I'm going to do a lot of crying. Yeah, not bucket list, but pilgrimage. Cooley got it right. Yeah. I want to go to Israel to see where Paul's preaching at Athens. Yeah, man. Take me with you. Take me with you. You went there? All right, you may not want to come back. Yeah, I probably won't come back. I probably won't. Eugenia, yeah, it's a pilgrimage. That's why I want to go. I gotta go. All right. What was I getting ready to do? Oh, let me read this because you know, when I'm doing these shows, let me tell y'all a secret. When I'm preparing these shows, I prepare notes. I really do. Not all the time, no. But many times I do prepare notes and I write them in my notepad on this computer I'm looking at. They're there. And sometimes you see me reading. I'm reading my notes. But for some reason, this is part 3 and I have not touched my notes. Because as soon as I start talking, I think because I wrote the notes, I know what to say. So I haven't touched my notes. And that's probably not me doing it. The Holy Spirit is saying, here's where I want you to go. And so I'll talk. And I'll start talking about my experiences and what I know through knowledge. And then it's an hour and 15 minutes in the show, and I'll look and say, oh, man, I haven't even touched my notes. Well, let's try again tomorrow. So I tried again on Tuesday, and I never touched the notes. New notes at that. So Spirit said, try again tomorrow. Well, it's Wednesday, and I have not yet gotten to my notes. Asia was amazing. Yeah, y'all bragging, but I'm going. Are you in Memphis broadcasting from Mason Temple? Dale Sims, not broadcast like this, but every time I go to Memphis, I do videos. Yes, every time I go to Memphis to the Mason Temple, I come home, edit the videos, and then I play it on the show. I absolutely love traveling God's world. I like the way you put that, God's world. Been blessed to have traveled 6 or 7 continents, Rome, Israel, South Africa. Woo, y'all, I'm telling you, I'm going to be crying. I have to go alone. I'm not bringing nobody with me. Nobody. This is me. Because I need that moment with Holy Spirit. I need that time. And I'm going to be a mess. So I'm going to have to find a portable Kleenex, a box of Kleenex. Because I'm going to be a mess, I'm telling y'all. Let me do this. It's already 55 minutes in. This is should pastors be paid a salary. Now, this is not something that I wrote. Obviously, this is a website. Let's see if they're correct. I actually haven't read this. I saw the title, and I'm going to read it and see if I was right in things I say. Just because I'm reading somebody else's notes don't mean I'm going to agree with it. I will say that. All right, and then we can shut it down. A church should definitely provide for the financial needs of its pastors, and any other full-time minister. Right there. Thank you, website. Notice that it says, and any other full-time minister. Why is it that we always focus on paying the pastor? And why ain't some of the other ministers on payroll? Huh? If you got a pastor and then he have an assistant pastor or something like that, why ain't he on payroll? If you got a youth church and you got a youth pastor, why ain't he on payroll? Huh? Because y'all can't afford to pay everybody. So you pick one guy, which is the pastor. But when Paul was talking, he didn't say the pastor who blah, blah, blah. He'd say the elder. The elder, which means there were more than one elder in the church. He rules well. He said elders who do their work well should be respected and paid well. He didn't say pastor. He said elder. Now, pastors are elders, but there are other elders there. A pastor is a bishopric. All right, that is a supervisory role or episcopos role. All right, that's supervisor. But the elders should get paid too. Why we don't talk about that? Huh? It's like musicians at our churches. Why is it that the musician, the piano player, when we say musician, if y'all say, is there a musician in the house? You know what they mean? They mean piano, organ. That's it. They don't mean no other instrument but piano or organ, depending on that church. Is there a musician in the house? And if somebody need to get up on the drums, then the person on the mic gonna say, no, not a drummer. But you said musician. A tambourine player get up there. Okay, I'm a musician. Let's go. Or no, that's not. No, is there a musician in the house? No, I'm a musician. No, what they mean is a pianist or an organist. It's offensive. It's offensive. Because my father, I remember him being embarrassed because he was sitting there with his guitar. My father's one of the greatest guitar players back in the 60s, 70s, all right? Well-known in Chicago. And he'd be sitting in service jamming. One of these days I'm gonna have to play my father playing the guitar. I got him around here somewhere. Cutting up during service. Traveling shoot log, got on my, he old Pentecostal player, so you can hear all kind of bluesy riffs in there. He be jamming. Somebody got up to want to do a solo, and she said, "Is this thing on?" Looking all pretty hair all down here, the fake eyelashes, the lipstick, glitter everywhere. She got on one of them Kojic dresses. It's shining. Sequins everywhere. I'm going to sing His Eyes is on the Sparrow. Is there a musician in the house? And my father looked around. I'm right here. Is there a musician in the house? This was like in 1980, somewhere around there. I couldn't play nothing at the time. And me and my brothers were sitting in there. How dare she? The man just got through playing for the whole service, jamming, everybody jumping up and down and speaking like Marielle McCracken. I shot that. Oh, they going, and he just cutting up, man, cutting up. Fingers is bleeding. Is there a musician in the house? We was like, what the? we wasn't saved back then. Brown, we wasn't saved back then. We wasn't all the way saved. We was halfway saved, all right? It's like a woman who's half pregnant. We was almost there. We were almost persuaded. We was like, what the heck? I'm saved now, so I can't say it. What the heck you talking about? Is there a musician in the house? How dare you? Is there a musician in the house? And nobody came to the organ. So she said, well, okay, I'll you go ahead, play. Go ahead. And you know what my father did? He took his cord that went into the amplifier and pulled it out. And he wrapped it around his that was the greatest scene I ever seen my father seen. Because I seen it 3 times. That was the greatest thing I ever seen. What would I do if I could just feel? He took that thing out. Come on, mama. I'm 5/8 saved. He wrapped his cord around his arm. He he took his guitar, put it in the case like a color purple. Well, gotta go. We walked out of there. Donna, that was the funniest thing. Me and my brothers were on the front row dying. And she's sitting there. She's standing there. Why should I feel discouraged? We were like, yeah, you discouraged. And why should the shadow? And we're like, yeah, our shadows is passing by. Because we was walking out on them. Why should my heart feel lonely? Yeah, you lonely, all right. We gone. You gonna feel so lonely singing this song. And long forever. Since Jesus, yeah, you gonna need Jesus. Is my. We walked out that church and laughed outside while we was picking up the girls, because you know we was 5/8 saved. And we was 5/8 saved. We had to picking up the girls and laughing at the same. Hey, did you see what my daddy did? Did you see what my daddy did? What your daddy did? Like, come here, girl. Let's go in the backyard. Let me tell you what my daddy did. We was mannish little boys. Mantish. All right. Who threw me off this time? April, was it you? Nana, who threw me off this time? I think Gail McKennedy, Gail did this time. Somebody keep throwing me off. 1 Corinthians 9:14 gives the church clear instruction. The Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should receive their living from the gospel. And you know what? I'll read all this tomorrow. I'll read it tomorrow. All right, it's good stuff, I'm sure, but I've wore your patience out long enough. Tomorrow I'm gonna do part 4. Yep, it will be a part 4 tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Well, I'll try to do a little earlier than 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock your time. I want to talk about racism among pastors. I don't think I've ever done this show. Racism among pastors tomorrow. And that would be my finale for the week for pastors. Should be interesting. I haven't wrote any notes, but I'm going to gather up some information and see what I'm going to do with it. And it should be interesting. All right? Y'all got any questions? Let me know. I see clocks. Clocks is flying all over the place. Clocks is just flying all over the place. So you may not want to miss tomorrow. Racism among pastors. Christian, I never did answer your question. I'm watching after you went live. What are your thoughts on black people not participating in the march on Washington? Oh, on April the 5th, is that was? Good. Do we have to march on Washington because other black folks are marching? Let me tell you about marching. I don't join in marches. No. I'm not saying they don't do anything, but why? Y'all just not. Marching in the old days worked. Got bills passed because black people joined. Well, they were marching, and then some whites joined, some Asians joined, and other race of people did join in those marches back in the 50s and 60s, which was the strongest part of the civil rights era, 50s and 60s. Today, marching, especially that whole Black Lives Matter thing, really made me come to a decision on all this marching. So y'all go down in March, do what you do. Because I have noticed, I've come to the conclusion that most of you who are out there marching don't do nothing. And if I was a cusser, I had the right word to put it right there. You don't do nothing when you get home to help yourself and your community. Nothing. You're going to go out there marching with people who don't do nothing. 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 Lynn said not many black folks did march on the 5th. I know. Because they were smart. For what? When Donald Trump won in 2016, you black women was out there marching with the pussy hats. Now, that wasn't a cuss, y'all. They had pussycat hats. They were kittens, okay? I didn't cuss that time. And you black women keep falling for the white woman's struggle with her white husband. She was out there burning her bra. And then y'all crazy behind you silly woman. You out there fighting a white woman's fight with her white husband. You out there burning your bra. Get your little silly butt back in the house. You know your husband at home, your father at home with your mama. We had two parents at the house in the 30s, the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. They were at home. What was your silly butt doing out there? Talking about burning your bra. Women need rights. Women need rights. Women need rights. Out there with the feminists. Bring your butt home. Take care of your Black Wall Street community out there joining forces with the white women. And it messed you up. It messed you up. You do you, boo. Boy, Joyce be cracking me up. I don't care if Joyce is sick or well. She gonna tell me what's on her mind. It was cold and wet on April 5th. You see what I'm saying? Black folk don't like cold and wet. We don't like nothing close to cold or wet. Oh, man. So, I'm sorry. I'm not joining in on none of that messology. Y'all, you bad enough you don't listen to me on Sirwalterj show. I'm trying to tell y'all how to build generational wealth. I'm trying to tell y'all how to come up, how to sit with your babies and read the scriptures with them, and how to properly interpret it. But you out there running with the world. Bring your butt back home. Dad just said, we almost made it. You know, y'all retarded. Something is seriously wrong with you. You bunkers, I need to change y'all's name. Unfortunately, it's not politically correct to call y'all the retarded bunkers. I can't use that word. Matter of fact, the fact that I used it twice, YouTube gonna snatch it from me. She said, put that clock. Let me hit the gospel. There it is. I got to hit the gospel. That let me know I got about 6 minutes to talk right now. And y'all know when that song was over, I don't care where I am in that sentence, I got to shut it off. So no, you will not find me out there marching for nothing. I'm at home. I raise up my family. I teach them. We have a little circle. We do what we do, and we help one another. And y'all can be out there all you want to. I ain't joining you. I ain't joining you in any reindeer games. All right. Yes. All right. And, April's going to be gone when? Yeah, we were going to wish you a happy birthday tomorrow, but It's in my calendar. All my mods' birthdays in my calendar. I saw it tomorrow, April. So if April's not gonna be here tomorrow, y'all go ahead and wish her a happy birthday now. Yeah, Brandon, I might go to that. I just might go to that. Happy birthday, April. We bless you, girl, for being such a great moderator. You always let me know if you're going to be here or not. And I thank you. Monkey Moo's not here, is he? Do we have Monkey Moo's birthday? April. And Nicole. Do we have Nicole's birthday? Huh? Do we? Can you moderators put your birthday up in there? Because I want to make sure that I ain't a false prophet. Who else is Dinah? She's a moderator. Rogers, moderator. Okay. Who else? Moderators, put your birthdays in the comment section because I know they're in my phone, but then again, I've been known to. So God, thank you for your presence, your love, and your blood. Thank you for the message today. Take care of your children. These men who you've chosen to be a voice for you, megaphone. Bless them, God. Take care of them. And I know you're going to do it through the people. They are worthy of double honor, but make sure, you people of God, that the people that you say are your pastors are worthy of that double honor. Who made them pastor? Who set them up and who sent them? How can they hear without a preacher? But how can he preach unless he has been sent? So God, help us to open our eyes to see if this man who's standing before us every week has been sent by you, so that we can make a decision on what to do next. Give us the vision so we know what to do. So help us, God, so we can understand your ways, not our ways. We bless you, God. Oh boy, we give your name the praise in Jesus' name. Thank God. Amen and amen. All right, y'all. I see y'all tonight for the what's tonight? Upper room tonight. Critical thinking class is tonight. If you missed the men's room last night, whew, it was kind of deep, wasn't it? Tonight, critical thinking. We've got to figure out, why did that woman call out and say that you don't have to say Father God, but you can say Mother God? Why? All right, who putting their birthdays in there, but you're not a moderator? If your name ain't Blue on YouTube, you're not a moderator. you bootlegging. You bootlegging. All right. Take care, y'all. I think I'm done.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.